Hi, welcome to this short video on the L2 L3 network protocol testing and test automation course I'm offering. My name is Samba Murthy. I work at Wigwen. I do take care of the education services at Wigwen and also develop test automation solutions, mainly around electronic test and measurement equipment. I come with over 35 years of experience in the industry, right from HCL, Blue Star, Agilent Technologies, Cisco, and for the past 6+ years, I've been doing this training and test solution design. So that's my brief background. So in this video, I'm going to discuss about the topics I'm going to cover in this specific case, and also just inform about the skill set that you will walk away with, so that you are ready for a L2 L3 network protocol test engineer. So this course has been specifically designed for the position of L2 L3 protocol test engineer. So this is one position which is constantly available as a job opportunity for many candidates. So keeping that in mind and my own experience, I have designed this course. So this course is run on weekends, 7 weekends, roughly each day about 5 hours or so with a half an hour break. So totally it will come to roughly about 60 hours of training, okay, run over 7 weeks actually. The content or the modules covered in this program start right from the technical expertise part, the networking domain, products, protocols, followed by software test methodologies, manual testing, Python, automated testing, and there will be a project at the end of it. So I'll be explaining in detail about each module just to specifically tell you what exactly is being covered under each module. So the first one is networking domain, products and protocols. So this is like a complete package of technical expertise and domain knowledge, so that with this knowledge you can carry out the job of test engineering effectively. So to begin with, under this module, I'll be covering the TCP/IP model. There's no better way of introducing networking than TCP/IP. Under that, I have a few protocols being picked up. So we'll discuss these protocols in detail. I'll explain what they are and how they are used. Okay. So starting from the Ethernet at the bottom, layer 2 and layer 1, followed by the IPv4 v6, which is a routable protocols. Okay. And then at the transport TCP UDP and a bunch of application protocol, which are like typically bread and butter of day-to-day networking. Additionally, I'll also be covering the ARP. Basically, you learn MAC address if you have an IP address using this, and ICMP, under which you have two features. One is a ping test, another one is trace route. Ping test for the layer 3 connectivity test, and ICMP for basically checking the path chosen for a specific destination. So you can see which path the packet is taking to reach a destination. And to consolidate this knowledge, we'll do a good experiment in Cisco Packet Tracer. Cisco Packet Tracer is a simulation tool developed by Cisco, and it is freely available. Only thing you need to register in their website and then download and then install it. So we'll do an experiment where we'll put all these protocols in practice, so that we have a direct first-hand view of how these protocols work. So with this, you'll have a very strong foundation for the networking. You will get a clear idea how a basic network works. Once the basics are there in place, then we'll deep dive into layer 2. So basically, switch as a product, how does the switch operate? How does it maintain the MAC address table dynamically? And we'll also cover the concept of unicast, multicast, and broadcast MAC addresses. How switch will handle each of them. So we'll know the switch as a product, how it operates, including the Cisco switches, how do you operate it, complete details of how to configure it. Following which, we'll discuss the protocols. So we'll see how switch can be one single broadcast domain as a default, the native VLAN 1. Otherwise, how you can divide the number of ports into several broadcast domains in a single switch. And also, like with the help of VLAN trunking protocol, we'll create same broadcast domain over multiple switches. So that's the VLAN VTP portion, IEEE 802.1q. That's the protocol we'll discuss. Followed by spanning tree protocol. Every network has a redundancy, but redundancy creates a problem when you have a broadcast packets being transmitted. So it will come back to the originating switch or the equipment where a return path is there, and the broadcast will keep coming back to the original, result in a loop, which in turn will become a broadcast storm. So STP will avoid the looping. At the same time, whatever redundancy is there, it will protect that also. So we will see STP as a protocol, IEEE 802.1d, 1W and 1S. So 3 versions we'll see it. So mainly spanning tree protocol, rapid spanning tree protocol, and then you have per VLAN spanning tree protocol, and followed by what I say is multiple spanning tree protocol, MSTP. So we'll discuss all those protocols in detail. So we'll do exercises on them. We'll learn the details, how it works, so that later when you have to test it, you know exactly what to test and what to expect rather. Finally, an LACP, link aggregation control protocol. Here you bundle several Ethernet links together logically to make it appear like one channel. In fact, this is referred as Ether channel actually. So that even if one link fails, other links will continue to take the traffic between the two switches, so that there is no, it is not seen as a loss of a connection. Unless until all the links fail, this redundancy is built at the link level. And also there is a load balance, so that per port the traffic is distributed, so that if you have multiple links between the two switches, and if it is seen as one channel under the LACP protocol, so you have a chance to load balance port wise, so that any resource crunch at the port level is avoided. So that's basically the switch as a product, switching protocols. And then we'll do the experiments again on the real equipment, which I have here, also on the Cisco packet tracer, so that you really become master. And this will be taught at a CCNP level, so slightly in-depth analysis. Okay, so that's what is expected from a test engineer. Same approach is for the routers also. So we'll see router as a product, how does it work, the routing tables, how they are built. The default form is connected and static routes, and we know how they cannot scale up for the large number of routes the routers have to maintain. So we'll slip into what you call the routing protocols, and here I've chosen 3 protocols. RIP, Routing Information Protocol version 2. Then you have OSPF, so Open Shortest Path First, and then you have a BGP, Border Gateway Protocol. So these are the protocols. Again, it will be discussed in detail. How do they work? What are they? How the neighborship happens, how the adjacency happens, and how the routing tables are updated, and how it calculates the best path to a specific destination, each of the routes, considering what is the factor. Like in a RIP, it is distant vector protocol, number of hops is the consideration for choosing a best path. OSPF is the bandwidth, right? It's a link state routing protocol. And BGP, it's like, again, number of autonomous systems it has to go through. And there are several attributes to that. So again, the approach is similar. Become expert in the product, which is the router, and the protocols, which is the routing protocols. Of course, we'll cover IPv4, IPv6, touch it once again. We have covered in the basics. So even those routable protocols are covered here. Again, the exercises can be on the real devices I have. I'll give you the access online. Also, it can be on the Cisco packet tracer. So that completes the technical part, the domain product protocols part. It's a very important one. Ultimately, you may have excellent job skills, but without the domain product protocol knowledge, your job won't be effective. You won't be that effective in your execution. The next is a bit of a software testing methodologies combined with the life cycle of a product. This will help you to really get the right context for your job. You may be given a task in the test engineering, but if you are aware of the environment in which you are in, the product life cycle, the stages in which it goes through, the cross-functional teams that you need to work with, your job becomes that much more, I would say, effective. You'll be a lot more sensible in your approach. So you know that at concept, it's a very high-level estimation need to be done, and basic question of can I test it or not? Can it be tested or not? The testability decision is taken. Planning is deep dive into details, like given a requirements document or the specification document, how long will it take to execute, what are the dependencies, what are the resources you need, okay, and what are the risk mitigation contingency plans. So everything comes under the planning part. In development, you actually develop the test plans and get them reviewed and approved. Validate, you execute them. Launch them, you look to the customer and the first-hand experience of the customers to see if there is any issues faced by the customer so that you can reproduce internally in the organization. Normally, test engineers are supposed to reproduce the bugs most of the time so that the developers can fix it. And later into sustenance, where the main release is out in the market, customers are happily using it. But every now and then bug fixes will be happening, and then they'll be released as maintenance releases or patches or whatever is it. And when you are testing it, while you test for the fix, you have an eye on the broken functionalities. Did it break any of the existing? So like I said, each of the phases you have a role to play, and each role is different. Sometimes you are planning, sometimes you are preparing, sometimes you are executing. And if you are executing or planning or preparing, your mission is changing. So maybe first time you will be like aiming to catch the bugs early. At later stage, you'll see, okay, I'll have to ensure that all the existing features are still working. So test types, methodologies you have to adopt. So it gives you a good context. So a very good module to attend to get a glimpse of the kind of environment you'll be working in. Under the test design methodologies, we go through the various test types. So we'll look at the test design fundamentals, we'll build test plans, we understand the test phases, unit, feature, system test phases, what are the test types within that. And we form a strategy based on the release theme or the release strategy. We have a test strategy. We develop them and then we execute them. We submit bugs because we may come across, or we will rather most of the time come across bugs, and the developers fix them, don't fix them, so you have to manage them. So not every bug can be fixed sometimes, some may be not so important. So we'll have a criteria, right? So basically what is the probability of that defect occurring at the customer place? If no, what is the impact of it? Will customer be able to find out given his or her application? So a lot of considerations that happen around the defect management. In the end, given the issues, so you may choose either to close it or probably if it is resolved to verify it. So we'll take that. And finally, when we deliver the product. So all this experience perhaps leads to a new test strategy. So that also it keeps, that way it keeps improving. It is a constantly evolving strategy. As a result of this, you are in a position to carry out all these tasks. You can design a test, okay? So that also is a design job. You can plan, clearly come with all these aspects, what to expect, what not to expect. You can prepare, of course you can execute, report and explain it to the organization or your internal or external clients about what actually happened or why you chosen certain approach or method or perhaps submitted a bug. So this is again, along with the product life cycle, gives you the right frame of mind, I would say, gives an idea about the context or the environment you are in, which you are working, which makes your job much more effective. Then comes the manual testing. So with so far the skill set being the technical portion and then the software testing portion, we'll pick up test cases under each of the protocols, layer 2, layer 3. We'll form a test cases, we'll execute them, and we'll see the way to conclude on each of the test cases after execution. What is that clinching evidence which can say test pass or fail? And I'm emphasizing it because if you plan well, execution becomes easy. If you plan well, your decision about pass fail becomes easy. And this planning is backed up by your expertise in the subject, whether it's a product or protocol, or in your understanding of the requirements or the specifications of the product. So that's a manual testing. We'll manually do it and it will be done on the real devices. So we have the devices here. So we'll do the testing and go through this experience and I know how to test it manually. Then we'll go into the programming part, Python. So you will learn Python. So all the regular topics will be covered in the Python, so which are required for test automation. So all the modules that are necessary to automate any test case specifically the protocols you will be learning here. So I'll be teaching Python 3 version. Visual Studio Code is my IDE, Integrated Development Environment. And once we complete the basic Python course and the advanced topics, we'll also design a GUI. So that later, as a last part of this course, when you do a project, under my guidance, you can develop a test framework all by yourself. For that, I'll be using the PySite Qt. Okay, so that's a tool where we can design the GUI pages easily. So that's the Python portion. If you see in isolation, this is a good Python course by itself. So someone is absolutely new, you can learn Python through this. And then comes the automated testing. So all the test cases which we manually tested, we'll automate it here. So we'll keep the record of all the test cases we executed under each protocol under the manual testing module. We bring them back here, we automate it. So when we automate it, so we will have like, the idea, or at least you will witness the difference, how fast this execution has happened and how consistent they are and how much of time saving they are. This particular expertise is not just required for the people who are working in automation test department or they are doing that, even for the manual test engineers. Many of my team members in Cisco and earlier, we all used to maintain a hand, some set of scripts in our hand, so that we run them whenever we want. I want to clean up my test bed. Run a script, your test bed is cleaned up to the default setting. I want to do some quick basic sanity testing on my test bed before I really do manual testing. Some of the tests you want to run on a daily basis, because every time there's a new version being added by the developers, maybe there's a daily build or a weekly build you are installing onto your test bed, and every time you have a worry that whatever tests you have run in the past, are they still working? Is there any broken functionality? And imagine doing them manually every time. It will take a lot of time and it doesn't make sense actually. So if you have your scripts in your pocket, a bunch of scripts which will establish the fact that the features are still working in despite of the builds, it makes your job so much easier. So automation is not for just automation test engineer. Anyone, in fact, for the people who are into technical support, they also should have some scripts with them. It always helps. Okay. So that's about the main portion of the course. Then we come to the project here. Now we have learned it. So almost 60 hours you will be spending with me learning all this, practicing this. But yet it is not, I would say, a complete unless until you do a project with me. So do a project. If you are working in any organization, pick your own product from the organization and we'll work together. And I'll guide you how to complete that entire planning, preparation, execution, automation. Everything can be done through this, right? You will be driving this. We will choose the project and I'll be setting up, say, once in a week or once in a fortnight meeting to review how well you are progressing. So you have my guidance all through. If it required, I may handhold you, I may help you to do something detailed, but I suggest that when you do this project on your own, a lot of your gaps in the knowledge, whether it is domain, product or protocol, or in terms of your testing skills, will come out. And it will be a very good basis for you to face the interview. Because any question in the interview, you can connect to this project. Because you have done it with your own hands, with yourself, you can really be confident in your answers. So this is a very critical portion. It comes in the end. And given the expertise you've already picked up, you will drive this and I'll be guiding you. And I'll support you with my test bed. So I'll give you the Cisco gear to you for you to share. So that's about the 6 modules. It's a complete course matching the requirement of what you call the L2 L3 protocol test engineer, right? I've divided again this course into 6 modules and I'm offering about 5 packages as you can see here. Check your profile, current profile, and then accordingly choose a package. You are completely new to the networking domain, new to the testing, everything, then probably pick all the 6 modules. Now you are already a CCNP or CCNA certified engineer or any equivalent certification like in Juniper or anything. So you can actually pick the package too. So likewise, whichever you think is not required or you think you are already comfortable, you can skip that. It's completely your choice. So I've explained here briefly what should be the profile of the participant for a package. In case if this happens to be different, like you have a profile which is not matching entirely the way I described, talk to me so we can work out what package you can specifically go. It's a very flexible. You can just jump in for the last 2 modules only in case you just want to have the direct experience of automated testing and do a project, do that. And the fees, the course fees will be accordingly lesser or more. If you take a full package, there'll be a good discount, almost all 25% discount. From time to time, I'll be publishing the fee structure. So you can go through it and discuss with me about the package. So that's about the course. I just thought I'll share the details with you on what I'm going to cover in this course. So like I said, I work for Wigwen. This is our address in Bangalore. We are based at Bangalore. And my name is Sambamurthy. I'm repeating myself. You can reach me on the mobile or WhatsApp at the 2 numbers shown on the screen. Or you can email us at training@wigwen.com and I'll be happy to take your questions or answer. So thank you once again for watching this video patiently and hope to see you in one of my training classes in future. Thanks once again.